If you are a healer, empath, therapist, then chances are you have trauma in your lifetime or lineage that allowed you to develop these skills. So, what happens when you have trauma is you learn to become highly aware of your environment. And this makes you really empathic and even psychic, and it allows you to even put your compass, your inner compass, outside of yourself and put it in those around you so that you can gauge if you're safe or gauge what they need. Growing up, I always had to be able to gauge how my dad was doing, if he was hungry, if he was feeling edgy or angry, and I had to learn that that was more important for my safety than my own wants or needs. So that's part of how and why me and the women in my lineage developed our witchy powers. But the problem with being a new age healer is that we have to heal with our families. We can try every healing modality, every therapeutic technique, every ayahuasca ceremony, all of this stuff. But until we actually heal with our actual families and forgive them, our lives will still have problems in the realms of money, partnership, security, stability, all of these root things. And I'm going to share with you now a technique that has helped me in healing my own root. And honestly, it's a work in progress. So everything I say to you, I'm also saying to myself. And I'm going to show you behind the scenes the techniques that I use with myself and with my clients. So I have a mentor, and she is a Mexican grandmother. She's a woman, she's 60, she has children, she has grandchildren, but she also has unbroken feminine wisdom that was passed through her lineage. I have wise women in my family, but I think that they had so much trauma that at some point they forgot and they broke, and then maybe they tried to put the pieces back together. But my grandmother is a wise woman, but she had a hard life too, so she wasn't able to hand me all of this wisdom intact, even though it's still in my DNA. So I have a teacher in Mexico, and her mom taught her how to raise her kundalini, how to squeeze her perineum and her pelvic floor, and how to bring her orgasms up. Kundalini, this is unbroken wisdom through the lineage of spiritual powers. So anyways, my teacher, she can do miracles, and I've worked side by side with her, and I've seen huge shifts happen for people. But in a very, it sounds so glamorous, right? Miracles and like witchy elder and all of these things. But there's some stuff about her work that is so unglamorous, and that is she makes everyone go back to their earth birth family, physical, and crawl to them and bow down and ask for the blessing. And it doesn't matter if your mom is a whore or a drunk. I've literally seen her do this with people whose moms were whores or drunks. She makes them bow down and ask for the blessing. Now, I'm telling you, this is not easy. This is humiliating. This is terrifying. This is so much, right, for the ego. But it's actually really important for us as healers to heal our root. And so, how do I explain this? Like, I really want to give you this piece because it's helped me so much. Whew. Okay, well, so I went back to my family and I asked for the blessing, and my dad wouldn't give me the blessing. He's like, what do you mean the blessing? So it took me 3 years of doing this exercise that I'm about to show you before I could actually go in person and get the actual blessing. So this is one way that I use constellations with my clients. I'm just going to show you here. Can you see this? Okay, so I picked a card. I'm using an Osho deck here, but you can use anything. You can use driftwood and pine cones or stones, flowers, household items, teacups, scarves, whatever you want. But here I'm using a nice Osho deck, and I chose the cards. I didn't like let the tarot choose it for me. I elected them based on image. So this is me, right? And I made my family tree. My mama, my dad, my grandparents, and my other grandparents, right? So my teacher makes us actually go in person and ask for the blessing from everyone. But as like training wheels for that, I start with these cards. And so the way it would work is that my dad is the hardest one for me, right? So I have this one and I have this one. And in real life it was like this. I don't know, I think I was sassy. I was like, "Can I have your blessing?" I don't know. I think I might have been a little sassy. And in real life he was like, "What do you mean blessing?" Right? But when you work with the cards, you play Barbies with them, okay? So you pretend you're a kid and you call on your higher self and you say, it would go something like this. So you channel the higher self of your family. So I would go something like this. I bow down. This is practice for the real thing. And I say, "Dad, I'm at a time in my life where I want to make a change and I want to heal, and you are an important part of my roots. And I want to have a healthy relationship with men, and I need your blessing. Will you please bless my life, my path, and my destiny?" Now, previous to this, in my head, my dad would just be like, "What do you mean, you slut? You don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean? Just pray to God." And like, I don't know. He would just be saying all kinds of mean things, right? So that's the stream of poison that I'm constantly ingesting from my root, is this like poisonous voice inside of me, right? But we want to access that little tiny part of him, or that more evolved part, or that future version of him that actually does really want what's best for me. So I imagine that there is a part of him that does want to see me happy and thriving, and I create that within myself. Now, if you can't even find this in yourself to be able to bring your parent to, even in your imagination, that their higher self could wish you well, that's yours to work on. You have to work your imagination. You have to work your holographic reality from within, right? So I have to find the willingness within me to be able to open to the possibility that a part of my dad does want to give me a blessing. Okay? So then I find that part and I say, "Let me get in contact with it. Give me a minute." So you channel it. So you channel it. So I'm getting in contact with my dad through my heart, my dad's higher self. "I'm proud of you, baby. You're very brave. Just be happy. You are blessed, and I pray to God that your life, your path, and your destiny be blessed." And then you let them receive that together. And when you do this, something changes in the DNA. And when you work it in the holographic dimension, in the astral realm, it actually eventually becomes the physical realm. So, like I said, I literally had to work this for 3 years, but it's also in my head, it's me. It's like we are all aspects of our holographic reality, and our parents or ourselves, or even nothing is just a one-dimensional caricature, right? So if we are willing to rework the hologram within us, then the universe will be willing to reflect that back to us. So, and then you go through and you do this with all of your family members. To start, you do it with your 2 parents and your 4 grandparents. And it doesn't matter if you've never met them, you work your own inner hologram, okay? Blessings. I hope this helps.